Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 205. I am Brendan. All right, Bellator 289, Raufeon Stots versus Danny Sabatello, Liz Carmouche, Juliana Velasquez, Magomedov versus Patchy Mix, and Dalton Rosta versus Anthony Adams. That's the main card. We're going to cover that here. If you're looking for the prelims, that's going to be in the next video. We're going to talk about the main card here, the couple title fights. We're going to break down the fights round by round. If you like that kind of stuff, if you like MMA, you like the UFC, podcasts about those things, fight breakdowns, understanding horrible judging decisions, 50-45. Are you kidding me? We are going to, I break all this stuff down here, so subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Also, if you're looking for a specific fight from this card, the timestamps will be down below. I did forget to bring my notes up yet again. Way to go. Great start. Okay, let's get started, though. Let's talk about Raufeon Stots versus Danny Sabatello. All right, so obviously there was a ton of lead up to this. There was a ton of shit talking. There was a ton of blah, 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 blah. All right, Stots ends up getting the decision via split decision. I'm not mad that there was a split decision because as we go through this, you'll see there are a couple rounds here that are pretty close. What I am mad at is the fact that one judge had it 50-45, as I said in the opener here, for Danny Sabatello. That's wrong. Empirically wrong. Anyway, all right. This fight it started out with Stots taking the center, staying really patient. Danny's first takedown attempt, Stots had a really good sprawl, but Danny stayed on top of it. Ended up getting the back, a lift, and a slam here in the first round. Danny stayed on the hips, keeping his leg in there against the fence. The Dagestani hip ride. He did that for pretty much his whole first round. Stots got a great reversal, but then but Sabatello got the back, and he got a body lock against the fence. Danny had way more control in this round. There wasn't a ton of damage either way, so that goes to Sabatello. Obviously, way better wrestling, 10-9. Second round here. Stots taking the center, but he was biting on a lot of feints, and it allowed Danny to land a couple good shots. So every time Sabatello would go for a takedown, whether that was a feint or a real takedown attempt, Stots would sprawl hard, immediately drop his hips to the canvas. And this allowed Sabatello to land a couple of shots or allowed him to at least close the distance, which is eventually what he ended up doing. Danny, he actually continued after a failed attempt and got a double. He got double unders. He got a dump and a good takedown. Stots attempted a knee bar in this round. Sabatello ended up getting the back again. But here's the thing. This second round, not a ton of damage yet again. Right? So not a ton of damage either way. Lots of control time. I wish Bellator posted that kind of stuff, but they just don't, so I end up using this site. Not a ton of damage either way, just a lot of control time. And because of that, that one knee bar attempt probably gave Stots this round, right? I really wish they had stats, but what did you guys think about the second round? Because it is crucial. Okay, the second round is crucial. I don't know. I don't know how everybody kind of saw this one. I had it for Stots because I feel like that on the feet, he did enough things. He landed a few good shots. And that knee bar attempt stopped it from being a one-way domination on the ground for Sabatello. So I had it 19-19, but it's close. So if you gave Sabatello the second round, I could see it. Third round here, Danny was on a takedown attempt. Stots stayed he stayed down on a knee. Danny threw a knee to against a grounded opponent, and it looked like it landed to his head. It did not. The pause in the action was quickly ended. We got right back to it. Stots' pressure was really making Danny look silly this round. So this was by far the clearest round. Stots got a takedown. He didn't really do much with it. And then near the end of the rounds, Sabatello got a takedown, and he took the back momentarily. Stots did way more this round. He did lots of damage, had the pressure. He got the takedown, got ground control. Easily the most definitive round for Stots, in my opinion. So I had a 29-28 for Stots. 4th round, Stots was biting and sprawling hard. Danny was taking advantage of this, similar to how he did earlier in the fight, but he was doing it more often. I feel like it was underutilized. He had somewhere in the realm of like 20 takedown attempts or something like that. I don't think it was enough. Now, you might like, why? Why don't I think that's enough? Because every time he would go for a takedown attempt, Stots would sprawl hard without fail. So if Sabatello just fainted more, went for that takedown attempt more, Stots could not have offense because he would be sprawling. In fact, at one point, Sabatello faked the takedown this round, just went like this with his hands, and Stots dropped face first onto the canvas. That might have been the 4th round. Sabatello was working on a Darce in this 3rd round, or this 4th round. We are in the 4th round. What am I talking about? He worked hard on a Darce. He got the back. He kept rolling with it, took position. I don't know why Stots kept going for takedown attempts, to be honest with you. It seemed like his advantage was on the feet. Yes, he did in the 2nd round. Actually, no, in the 3rd round, he did get a takedown and he got a little bit of control there. But on the ground, it was at best 50-50 for Stots. At best, in the best moments, right? When you were looking at the overall picture, how the fight was taking place in each position, all the variables put in there together. When it was on the ground, at best for Stots, it's 50-50. But clearly on the ground, Sabatello had the better positions. He had the better game plan. He had the better execution, better whatever it is, better grappling in general, better wrestling, all those things. It was much better for him on the ground. So why would you even entertain that when on the feet you're way out in front? And it's not even close. So this 4th round here, had he stayed on the feet instead of going for that takedown attempt and landed a couple more shots, I feel like it really could have swung it in his direction. It did not. I had it even going into the final round, 38-38. Stots was taking this. He took the center again here in the last round. Holy shit, Danny got a takedown after. This was nuts, okay? So Sabatello failed on a takedown attempt after going for a single leg. Stots turns around, gets his foot out, and is basically running away. Now, this is common, right? This isn't a defensive, defensive thing or something where you would, I would be highly critical of, where a guy is running in the entire fight. When a guy has your foot and clearly wants to go to the ground with you, if you turn and yank your foot away, there's nothing wrong with that. Usually, that's the end of it. Danny stayed on that foot, grabbed the other foot, got into a crazy scramble, ends up getting the back, and then he would do this stupid thing where he kept putting the hook over one leg, right? And then he would lock up on it. He would do how they do the body triangle with the leg over the body, and then it locked up like this in the crook of the knee. Obviously, it's reversed because my arms bend the opposite way of feet and of legs. But anyway, he would do that, but around one leg. And he would do that because it would allow him to scoot his hips out to the side and get to a better position when Stots tried to escape. And it would allow Sabatello to maintain control. But he never went for it. He never put both hooks in and really went for back control. And I feel like, maybe he knew something, maybe that in those positions he's not as comfortable. Maybe he knew Stots was going to be able to get out of it. Maybe he didn't feel like he could get the submit. Whatever it was, I just felt like it was, again, another missed opportunity. So in this last round, Stots probably landed more. I would give him the damage edge. There was a couple positions where he was landing elbows, although he did get warned twice for hitting to the back of the head. Again, warnings are stupid. It's so dumb. It's ridiculous. I can't believe that that's still, after one time, that's enough. So anyway, this last round I gave to Stots. All right. So overall, I had it 48-47. I had it for Stots. Right. I agree with the decision. I agree with both judges who had it that way. If you had it for Sabatello, let me know what rounds you thought he won. I don't inherently disagree with you, but I will disagree with this. Oh, also I'm going to get to McCarthy's biased ass and flip-floppy fucking announcing yet again We're going to talk about that a little bit. Hopefully, I don't spend too much time on it. I just want to lay out why he's fucking horrible at this. Not that he's a terrible announcer. It's just there's certain things about him that drive me up the fucking wall. So here, 50-45 for Sabatello. Based off of the argument I have made for each round and how my scoring went, you tell me how you give every single round to Danny Sabatello. Okay? Now, if you scored the fight for Sabatello, like I said, I don't inherently disagree with you. I think it's arguable that the second round went to Stots. I think it's arguable that the last round went to Stots, but I think the real one would have been the second round. There is no argument for round 3. Absolutely none. There is no argument there. Stots landed more. He was in control more. Like, there is no argument. I do not know what the fuck that referee was looking at. 50-45 to Sabatello. I really hope that you don't think that, because we need to have a conversation. You're more than welcome, to tell me why you thought it was a 50-45. I inherently disagree with you there. Right. And I will go to bat for round 3 being the round that you cannot give to Sabatello. Second round, you can make the argument. Maybe you'll sway me. 5th round, you can make the argument. Maybe you'll sway me. That 3rd round, there is no argument on this planet that will sway me to Danny Sabatello. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's horrible. All right. 2 things. Let's talk about Stots, how he was acting after the fight. So first of all, Danny Sabatello acting like a total bitch, like walking out of there because he's all pissy because he lost. Whatever. Colby Covington did it too against Kamaru at one point, I think. Whatever. Anyway, it's a bunch of shit. I hate when people do that. Second thing, Stots acting like he beat his ass, talking about how, oh, you can't win by hugging, oh, this and that. Listen, dude, you won. I scored it for you. I'm not against you in this, okay? I'm not against Stots. So if for fans of Stots out there who thought he did win the fight, I'm on your side. I agree. I do think he won. He did not dominate in any fashion at any point in this fight. In any point in this fight where you're like, whoa, Stots is clearly way out in front. He's running away with this one. Can you honestly tell me that with a straight face? No. So Stots to come out here afterwards and continue talking shit instead of saying, wait, that was a close fight. It didn't go the way I thought it was. The wrestling turned out to be a little bit more of a challenge. But I thought I had the edge on the feet. There's a plenty of different things. He could still have talked shit. He's like, hey, Sabatello really just wanted to hold on to me. He didn't really do anything with it. And anytime we get on the feet, I was able to do more damage. But you were held down and you were dominated on the ground for over 10 minutes of this 20-minute fight, not to include the time that you were pressed up against the fence or you were in scrambles on the ground, okay? There was a majority of this fight occurred on the ground. I would argue that more than 12 and a half minutes of this fight occurred on the ground, and you were in the losing end of most of that. So let's not come out here and talk shit acting like you dominated this guy, that you came out and you took his head off or any of that shit, or that you said you bloodied up his face and got blood in his hair. Dude, you landed 2 good punches. One of them bloodied his nose, and there might have been some blood that trickled into his hair at some point. You did not bust up his face. Okay? That did not happen. I don't know what universe you're living in. You landed a few good jabs. You did land some good shots. And like I said, you did win this fight, in my opinion. But this was not a domination. So let's cool it with that shit. Right? You're not like... it's delusional. I understand why he's doing it, because he talked so much shit before this. There was such animosity between these two that you got to keep up appearances and all that shit. But even the best guys, or the best shit talking guys, can take a step back and say, hey, like, obviously this wasn't a one-way beatdown. I wasn't able to come in here and do what I wanted, but I got the win. I did what I had to do. And you can even talk a little bit of shit, but saying that, oh, he was hugging on me, then fucking do something about it. I am so sick of that fucking argument from fighters and fans alike. Now, I will also go to bat for you, saying that someone who's just hugging on someone and staying there, not looking to advance position and not landing strikes, I went off on a tirade on that like about a month ago about the stupid UFC heavyweight that got that fucking win like that. Right? That's unacceptable. He landed 3 strikes on the ground, and he was in dominant position for 10 minutes of a 15-minute fight. That's unacceptable. In this fight, go back and watch it. You tell me in a position where Sabatello was wide open for strikes and could have landed a ton of ground and pound. Stots was defending very well on the ground, and that didn't allow Sabatello to land damage. That's why I had this scored for Stots. Okay? But to go out there and say, oh, all he wanted to do was hug, then don't let him then, motherfucker. You just had 25 minutes to shut him up and to stop him from hugging you. And what did you do? You let him hug you, in your opinion, hug you and be the better hugger for 10 minutes of those 25 minutes. Okay? So I don't want to fucking hear it. I fucking can't stand that shit. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit animated because the next thing also pisses me off. Last note on this fight, and we'll move on. John McCarthy. His exact words, sorry, I will paraphrase, but to paraphrase John McCarthy in describing why he felt that Raufeon Stots won this fight. He said, Raufeon Stots was landing more punches, and Sabatello, all he was doing was holding onto him when he was had the grappling advantage. That's why Stots won this fight. Now, I can point to many examples. We could go back and roll the tape, and I promise you, I will find an exact contradiction from who? Big John McCarthy, saying the exact opposite. Not that the situation isn't different. It's the message he's getting across. He's not a very good orator. He's horrible at this. He's not good at explaining himself and getting the message across as to why he thinks, because he thinks that the fight is won or lost by a certain fighter. Because if he says something and then contradicts himself 3 events later, and a statement that directly contradicts the statement that he's saying now, the statement that he said a few events ago, this one might almost be word for word. Fighter X, landed more punches and landed more strikes, but fighter Y was in dominant position. He was the one pushing the action. He was the one grappling. He was the one who had advantageous positions in the grappling. He was the one who was in control of where this fight took place, and that's why I scored it for him. How can you say that and then have the exact same thing happen here? Because Stots landed more punches. But you could take that sentence from John McCarthy probably about a month ago. You could take that statement, overlay it on this fight, and have John McCarthy saying that Sabatello gets the win here. So do you understand why it's frustrating to hear that from an announcer? Something that directly contradicts something that he's saying. It's not that he was wrong about that fight or he's wrong about this one. Okay? Although I do believe he was wrong in the last situation. But it's not that he was wrong in either one of these situations. It's that his message is muddled at best, hypocritical at worst. And to me, it almost looks like favoritism. Okay. Fuck. Oh, man. It got me fired up. God. All right. Let's get to some enjoyable stuff here. Liz Carmouche, just beating the shit out of Juliana Velasquez. Not with punches necessarily, just dominating her in every facet of MMA, in my opinion. What a great job done by Liz Carmouche, getting the finish in the second round. I'm going to try and show a video here of it. Get her getting the armbar here. It has her, and she's tapping. A great win for her, getting her first defense. Before this fight started, so I wrote this down. Okay, I did not. This is not me. Monday morning quarterbacking or 2020. hindsight here. I wrote down, y'all can shut the fuck up with this whole storyline that Liz Carmouche won. Focus. Controversial win. Controversial, arguable decision, questionable decision. I can't stand it, man. Like, they really did not want Liz to win. They didn't. They have not stopped saying that it wasn't a legitimate win, right? Here's the thing. I will say it again. I said it then. I'll say it now. Again, Big John McCarthy's argument. Oh, yeah. And also, Josh Thompson's thing about how Liz Carmouche was trying to justify the bad decision and saying, "Oh, I don't like that." Get the fuck out of here, dude. Dude, you guys are you guys are not hiding it very well that you wanted Juliana to win. That you guys had plans for Velasquez. You had a future planned out for her, and guess what? It didn't work out the first time, and now we gotta hold the water, right? We got to keep the narrative up. So let's say it was controversial, which it could have been had you described it slightly better. And Big John McCarthy, again, the argument presented was none of those shots that she was taking were fight-ending shots. She wasn't It doesn't fucking matter. If you're not intelligently defending yourself, the fight can be waved off at any point. If you are in a crucifix position, taking damage from elbows or punches, whether or not each one of those cumulatively or independent of any other shot can end the fight is non-consequential. If you can't intelligently defend yourself, you lose. It happened last week in the UFC with that calf slicer back mount. It was really weird. It's a unique position. I've never seen it happen before. He couldn't defend him. Jack Hermanson couldn't defend himself. Were any of those shots fight ending? No. So now what? Oh, we're going to talk about how cool it was and how weird that, yeah, because you guys had no skin in the game. Fuckers. All right, so let's talk about how this fight went down and how Liz Carmouche is a total fucking badass. All right, Liz was in her face right away, right against the cage, in the clinch, with the bullshit foot stomps. I like Liz Carmouche, do not like foot stomps. Not a fan. Not a fan. Liz was landing some really good knees to the legs of Juliana, though. And even when Juliana was in the better position against the cage, right, when they would reverse position, she was on the outside pushing Liz against the back. Liz Carmouche was still the one landing more damage. Liz ended the round with a takedown. She got right into mount. She didn't do any damage with that takedown or when she got into mount, but it didn't look good for Juliana going forward. So that first round I did give to Liz Carmouche anyway, 10-9. Liz Carmouche right in on a single, and then Juliana got back up. They were in the clinch for a little bit. Liz got the single and turned the corner, laced the legs, got the takedown, laced the legs up. And then I looked over at my wife, and I was like, I wonder how long it's going to be before Juliana does one of these numbers to the referee, throwing her hands up, saying, "Oh, she's just holding on to me. Do something about it." One of my biggest pet peeves. And then probably, 5 seconds after I said that, you saw Juliana do it twice with her left hand. She goes like, like, help me, please. She's doing MMA better than me. What is this? You can't just take someone down and hold them there. You can. It's in the rules. Well, she's holding on to my legs and not letting me stand back up. Well, yeah, you got to get control of your legs so you can stand back up. But that's hard. Yeah, that's part of the game. Jeez, dude. Fucking do something about it. Looking to the referee to save your ass. Liz ends up getting mount in this from this position. Started laying in some damage, and then she got the mounted armbar, like we just saw in the video there. I wrote down, "Let's talk shit now." Boy, oh boy. Oh yeah, Liz also said she popped her elbow with the armbar. It's awesome to see her finally vindicated. No questions here. Clearly the better grappler, more dominant in position. I mean, look at her age. She's 38. She's been doing this forever. Velasquez is no spry chicken either, or spring chicken, sorry. She's 36. It's not like she's brand new in her career. Dude, Liz Carmouche has been fighting since 2010. You know, the better part of 12 years here. Yeah, she's got a win against Valentina Shevchenko back in 2010. Which, you know, in hindsight looks like a great win, but also arguably probably, you know, Shevchenko wasn't the Shevchenko of today. You know, that time where she had Ronda Rousey's back. Sarah Kaufman, that's actually, she fought her back in the day. She got a loss. She beat Jessica Andrade. A loss to Alexis Davis. How? Lost to Miesha Tate. That was a decision loss. She beat Lauren Murphy, who fought for a title in the UFC. She beat Caitlin Chukagian, who fought for a title in the UFC. Another loss to Alexis Davis. Eek. A win against Jennifer Maia, who fought for a title in the UFC. And then Lucy Pudilova, she's not in the UFC anymore. And then she moved over to nope, she fought for the title against Shevchenko and did lose that one. And then she moved over to Bellator and has not lost. Has not lost since she moved over to Bellator. She's had a great career, man. She's she's a Marine. No such thing as a former Marine. You know, she's been working fucking hard. She's clear, like she's jacked. She's dominant in her strength. It's one of those things where it's nice to see someone who works really hard and doesn't go out there and try to like pump up her own name or talk shit about her opponents. She's very matter of fact about what she does. She's she just goes out there and works really hard. And yeah, she doesn't have the cleanest striking, and yeah, she's not the most efficient grappler, and yeah, she's not the epitome of modern MMA, I would argue. Is she the best female fighter? Probably no, I definitely not. But guess what? She's clearly better than Juliana Velasquez, and she did it in the last fight, and she did it again now. Now, if do I think that first fight was stopped a little bit early? Yes. Yes, I do. But the way that these fuckers just were trying to hold the water for Juliana, talking about how, oh, she was robbed and oh, this and that. And they mentioned the fact that Juliana brought it up to the commission in Hawaii and challenged the decision. Even though the decision didn't get reversed or the challenge essentially failed, they brought it up like it means anything. Dude, and then the way the commentary team was almost silent on the booth, right? Not the announcers, but the commentary team, the three dingalings in the booth. They were just like very one sentence, like, "Oh yeah, good job. Oh, she came out, did good job." Y'all motherfuckers were waiting for Juliana to win so you could talk about clearly. See, this is why that first one was stopped early. You know, they were already writing it in their head. They had the headlines all written out. All they had to do was click print or click send, push enter, and finalize that draft. They were all ready to talk shit and talk about how Juliana was robbed and this and that. And Liz went out there and shut them all right the fuck up by almost breaking Juliana's arm. Right? Now, why is that? Is it because Liz Carmouche isn't classically promotable as far as like female, like being like a beautiful woman and all this other stuff? Fuck that. Who cares? This is MMA, man. Dude, she's a hardworking veteran who goes out there and gives it everything, has been doing this forever, and fucking won the first fight and won this one. Let's give her some goddamn props. Let's promote her a little bit. Let's put her in the intro instead of that stupid twat that shakes her ass on Instagram. Fucking put Liz Carmouche in there. She's your champion. She's got a belt around her waist. She's been doing this forever. She works hard and she takes this shit seriously. Come on now. Man, I am really fired up about that stuff. Like Bellator does, like, they do play favorites a lot, and it drives me crazy because it's evident. Very evident. All right, Magomedov getting put to sleep by Patchy Mix. Not via punches. First round, so he got the submission finish. should be called a technical submission. It should not be submission guillotine choke because he did not tap. He put him to sleep. Patchy was both guys were poking with the long punches to the body and low kicks early on. Not a lot of action. Magomedov got a takedown, and Patchy used a guillotine to defend in reverse. Now, keep that in mind because it plays an important role in a couple seconds here when I talk about it. Magomed really didn't land anything significant in this first round, and the fact that when he went for takedowns, he was defending submissions meant that he lost it on my books, on my card, right? Focus. Yeah, it is that first round. That first round I gave to Patchy Mix anyway, even though it doesn't matter because he got to finish in the second round. Second round, Mix was finding the range. He found the range. He was finding it up top, right? In the first round, it was more about the kicks and the punches and the kicks and punches to the body. And the legs. But now in the second round, he was finding his range a little bit, realizing that when Magomed was going for takedowns, he was going to be able to defend with the submission attempt, and that on the feet, he really had nothing for him. So Magomed was only really able to land low kicks because anytime he would get any closer, Patchy would be throwing punches and keeping him at range. Mix had a huge range advantage. He's very tall. It wouldn't be a bad. So here's the other thing, though, is if all he did was throw those low kicks, I don't think it would have been the worst strategy because Patchy has some skinny ass legs, and there's no way he's going to be able to take a ton of low kicks to the leg. Mix put Magomed to sleep with a high elbow guillotine on the ground. It was a horrible matchup for Magomed here. I'll show you. Hopefully this shows him put him to sleep. Yeah. High elbow guillotine. You see, like he locks it in there really tight, and then you see his left arm. You don't see it from this angle, but his left arm kind of scoots outside. Yeah, it goes right there, and you see how it dangles, and then he reaches in there. He's out. Yep, out. Great win for Patchy Mix. Amazing. I think he's. I think he's the best in this division currently. That's not. Obviously, Sergio Pettis because he is the legitimate champion. He's just injured. I think that Patchy Mix has, dude, the way he put everything together against Kyoji Horiguchi. I think Horiguchi would have been a worse matchup for Raufeon, Stots, and Sabatello. Maybe not Sabatello. Maybe Sabatello beats Horiguchi. But for Stots, I think Horiguchi would have been a bad matchup. But Mix just made him look silly. Wasn't able to do anything. I think Mix is he's my favorite to win this tournament. I think he's going to go up there and he's just going to have more options than Stots. Like, what do you think Stots is going to do? You think Stots is going to go for a takedown like Magomed did and get submitted? I don't think so. Do you think Stots is going to be tooling him up on the feet with that range? Probably not. I think if he really focuses on the low kicks, he might be able to get something going there. But I think Patchy he's legit, man. In that last fight, when I saw him against Kyoji Horiguchi, I saw some holes in his game. I thought maybe, here and there. But watching him just tool Magomed, who is a tough son of a bitch and a really tough puzzle to solve when it comes to the grappling. He just said, fuck it, and I'm going for that guillotine. There ain't nothing you can do to stop me. And he put him to sleep with it. That was fantastic. I think, like I said, I think Mix is my favorite to win here. Dalton Rosta versus Anthony Adams. This was the opener. Not a bad one. So Anthony Adams spent most of this fight, on the back foot, walking away, like backpedaling, that kind of stuff. Rosta ends up getting the decision 30-27. I'm not a fan of this strategy. I don't know what it is with me lately. Maybe it's because I'm more irritated because I'm picking up more on things in MMA. Maybe it's because it's happening more often, or maybe it's because I'm watching more MMA than usual with different organizations. But this whole strategy of backpedal, backpedal some more, and then fire a couple shots off, and then go back to backpedaling. Dude, it is frustrating to watch, man. And they even say it too. They said it. They're like, Adams is a frustrating opponent because Yeah, because he's backing up the entire time, and yeah, you should be cutting off the cage. So it's one of those ones where if like you're fighting a grappler and you can't get up, same thing. You got to cut off the cage. You got to stop him from backpedaling. You got to do something about it because it is fucking frustrating to watch. I went off on a rant about that the other day in the PFL finals. Don't need to do that again. Also, it wasn't as bad. Adams did step forward a few times. Rosta landed a hard low kick. Oh, by the way, the low kick must be the most ubiquitous technique in MMA, right? Can you guys think of another technique that everybody uses now so just universally? I mean, I guess the jab, but I would argue that the jab is less used than the low leg kick now. Because I swear, at the start of every single fight, there's a low leg kick. And sometimes, some fighters don't throw a lot of jabs. I bet by the numbers, the jab is thrown more often, but I think, in my opinion, I think the low leg kick is more ubiquitous now. Rosta was able to land low kicks and one to the body. Not much landing up top for either guys. 2 minute at the 2 minute mark. Adams was landing low kicks too. Both guys were kind of just playing footsie. Rosta was generally more aggressive. He landed more of the harder shots. Rosta landed more. He did more damage in this first round. I had a 10-9 for him. Rosta doubled up on his long left hook and managed to land with the second one, which is I feel he could have done more often. Is like a lot of the striking here from Rosta was one at a time, two at a time. If he doubled up on a strike or extended his combinations to 2 or 3, yeah, it might have opened him up and Adams might have caught him. So hey, he did win every round here. So who am I to tell him? But I feel like there were times in there where he did do that and he was able to land. And with his power advantage, I feel like he could have put an end to this earlier. Neither guy was committing, but Adams is the worst offender, just staying safe and landing kicks to the body. Adams looking to the side, talking shit after a missed punch. Dude, you just spent 2 minutes on the ground. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, he got taken. Rosta took him down and put him on his back. There were no submission attempts and not a lot of damage, but I still had Rosta winning that round, so I ended up 2018. Then Rosta started the round with a nut shot. Both guys got kicked in the nuts in this fight. There was a nut shot before by Adams in the second round. Rosta started the round with that nut shot, right? The jokes about, commentary. There was there were some jokes about Nutcracker and nutcracking and 'tis the season, all that stuff because of Christmas and the holidays and everything. Well, it's Christmas, not the holidays. That's not why you sing the Nutcracker and shit like that or see the Nutcracker. But he made jokes about the impromptu presentation of the Nutcracker Christmas here on Bellator 289. That was a pretty funny joke, man. I like it. It was funny. It's a little bit of levity in there. I thought it was fun, especially it was the first fight on the main card. Fun way. It makes light of something that I would still argue is detrimental. I made the argument last week that nut shots are almost as bad, if not worse, than eye pokes. Adams was running backwards and shooting for a takedown after there was one decent punch that landed by Rosta in this round, and then Rosta landed a huge right hand. And actually, Rosta was holding on. Adams was holding on to Rosta's hand for dear life when Rosta had the back for a little bit, and then he broke free, landed a right hook, and dropped him. I think they did post a video of that here. Yeah, they did. So here's right at the end of the fight. There's only 10 seconds left, and he was going for the finish. He did not get the finish, but he did go for it and knock him down. So that was a good little sequence there for Rosta. I had him up 30-27. That's all three judges had it the same way. So that is it. I know I went off on a couple rants here and side tangents, but this isn't to defend me. That's not me. It's more to say I get animated about these things because I care about the sport, right? I care about the sport a lot. It's my favorite sport. It's pretty much the only thing I watch now. I don't even watch basketball that much anymore, which was probably my favorite sport growing up. This is what I care about. This is what I do, what I watch in my spare time. This is what I study when I'm not doing like random other stuff like woodworking or playing video games or, hanging out with the kids or hanging out with the wife or whatever, I'll look up stuff when it comes to MMA. I'll check on the news and that kind of stuff. I really do care about the sport, and I think it's important that we point out not necessarily failures, but inconsistencies, incongruities. We point out failures in some cases when it comes to the judges and their scoring decisions, 50-45, unacceptable. And I think we do. I think we do need to hold people accountable for the stuff that they say. And I would argue that I've probably contradicted myself, right? And if I heard that stuff, I would clarify. If someone presented me with 2 times where I have said, opposing things, I would clarify it. And there's times where, yeah, sometimes it is bias. It's personal bias. And I'm a fan of a certain fighter, so I will overlook certain things that they do, and I will prop them up. Well, I'm a fan of the sport, and yeah, I try to be less biased when I'm doing when I'm doing like post-fight stuff like this. But for people who work for an organization, dude, you can't make it that obvious. You can't make it that obvious. I know that the organizations have their favorites. That's not a secret. It's not even a secret with the way they do matchups. I mean, I think fucking Yoel Romero's getting a title shot in Bellator. Come on. I thought we were over this, Bellator, just giving UFC fighters title shots. It's just I really do care about the sport, and I know I get animated about it. That's because this stuff does, it does actually piss me off. Like, I shouldn't care about it because it doesn't have an effect on my life, but it does make me angry when you have people going against their word, people being scumbags, people outright lying. It's not good for the sport. And now, I don't think Big John McCarthy is bad for the sport. I really don't. I think there are things about him that drive me nuts, and I don't. He's not my favorite commentator, but I don't think he's doing it maliciously. I think it's just stuff that he needs to work on. Although, at this point in his total career with MMA, the dude knows more about MMA than, he's forgot more about MMA than I'll ever know. That guy has more experience in the octagon. He has more experience in the cage. He has more experience on everywhere, teaching people how to be a referee. He knows more about the sport than I ever will, right? It's just the way he does commentary needs a little bit of work. Not to say I would do a better job. I would argue I would do a much worse job. But being a fan of the sport means I can say that I like it or I don't. That's what it is. Anyway, if you made it this far, that's awesome. I really appreciate your time. Subscribe to the channel so you know when the next videos are coming out. It means a lot to me that you would spend your time here. If you're looking for the prelims, it's in the next video. I'm going to cover I'm going to cover the UFC tomorrow night and probably throw the prelims up on Sunday. It means a lot to me. It really does. I really enjoy doing this stuff. Like I just said, I love the sport. It's my favorite thing. I love talking about it. Thank you guys so much. If this is the only video that you watch this week, awesome. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I love y'all.